Hello, everyone. MTL Sports here. Episode 129. NFL Week 11. Games of the week. We got a preview coming for you. Plus, UFC 309. John Bone Jones versus, I forgot who he's fighting, but we'll preview that. Might be able to squeeze in some NBA, some college football, whatever. But, with all that being said, guys, stay tuned. Week 11 NFL games of the week. Let's start there. I guess it's only right to start with tomorrow's game, right? Commanders and Philly, I believe. I think this is basically the fight for top of the division, right? Because I think both teams are 7-3, right? I don't know. I think they're about that.
I think the Eagles had a bye week.
Let's pull up handy dandy. So Eagles might be like 7-2,
You think the Eagles
and Commanders are 7-3.
Yes.
All right, so let's see here. Commanders, Eagles, tomorrow on Prime Video, or you guys can watch it on Twitch. That's what I usually do. I think we're in Philly for this one because this is their first matchup. So we're in Philly. Philly's 3.5-point favorites. Lawrence, how you see this game going?
I see this game going in a bit of a shootout style. If Lattimore, even if Lattimore coming back, I still think it's going to be a little bit of a shootout style. And it get rough, a little bit more rough nosed, low scoring towards the second half. So the over under is pretty much in a good spot. One thing I will probably push towards is a Zach Ertz anytime touchdown. His chance to go back to Philly. I feel like he might have something cooking, especially with the way Jalen Daniels has been this season. I've seen Zach Ertz have some touchdowns taken back from him, so I'm going to take that anytime touchdown for this game.
Yeah, I feel like he's been a good option for Jaden. Unfortunate that catch he made on Sunday wasn't ruled a first down. We talked about that at length on last episode, so you guys go check that out. But yeah, I think he's due for a big game. Going back to his old team he won. He was on that Super Bowl team, wasn't he? A couple years ago, with Nick Foles when Carson got hurt.
I believe he was.
Yes. So a little bit of a not a revenge tour, but like kind of like Clay last night when he went back to the Warriors for the first time in the first in-season tournament game. So I expect like similar, if you want to compare football to basketball, similar performance there. Yeah, I think Washington, I feel like they when it comes down to, I feel like they can't stop the run well enough. I think I saw this week there's a stat that they're giving up the second most 10 plus rushing I guess carries by running backs. So running backs tend to break long runs against the Commanders. They don't have John Allen. Jerome Payne has been playing well, but I mean their D line at least this year hasn't been too good against stopping the run. So Philly's all about going out there and running the ball, whether it's Hurts or Barkley. So I'm gonna go Eagles in this one, especially as in Philly. I'm gonna go Eagles.
I think I'll join you with the Eagles.
All right. First game. What do you got, Lawrence, for this wonderful Week 11, middle of November?
So my first game, I'm gonna take Ravens Steelers. I feel like it's obvious that I gotta. The thing I like most about this game, or for betting wise, the thing I love the most about this game is an under 47.5, which is what the line is at. And the Steelers plus 5.5, mainly because this matchup is always close fought. So here's the thing, and I don't know the numbers with Russell Wilson being there, but what I saw against the Commanders, he likes the deep ball. That's kind of been Russell's thing his whole career too. The Steelers are 26th in passing yards, and the Ravens are dead last in pass defense. So what the Ravens are really bad at, the Steelers can't exploit. They haven't proven
Mm.
that game to game they can throw on the best of teams. Offensively, the Steelers are 8th against the run, and the Steelers are 1st against the run. So what the Steelers like to do, they're not going to be able to do. Again, same thing. One thing the Steelers offense seems to be doing well at, even when Justin Fields was there, was moving the ball on third down. They're 12th in the league. The Ravens are 30th on defense in terms of third down. So Steelers are going to keep drives alive. As hard as it might be for them, it's just on paper they will keep drives alive. And I think overall, just the fact that the Ravens literally are almost a top 5 or top 2 offense in the league. I mean, total points first, passing yards third, rushing yards first, points first, third down percentage fourth. They're basically they're 100% a top 5 offense. And at best, the Steelers are somewhere in the top 10, 9th against total yards, 19th in passing yards. So even if the Steelers want to double up on their run defense, which is 4th in the league, they still allow big yards to be had in the passing game. So I think it's a close fought, low scoring affair. I just think that the Ravens just have enough to get it out.
Fair enough. This is the Steelers' first division game. They've gone 10 weeks without one, which is kind of mind-boggling. You would think they would have at least one division game in 10 weeks, but that's the NFL schedule makers for you. So this will be good to see. I'm kind of rooting for the Steelers because can't have the Ravens going undefeated. Or I guess they lost to the Browns, so need them to lose another division game, but yeah, I'm excited for this one. This one's at 1:00, so should be interesting. For me, I'm gonna go in the realm of Indy in New York. And then you're saying, why would you pick Indy in New York? Well, I think it's definitely a make or break game for either team, right? Today, a little bit of breaking news: Colts are going back to Anthony Richardson, which is a little bit mind-boggling. But he did say, I think in today's presser, he was low-key happy that he got benched. I'm assuming it was like a maybe not coming to light moment, but just like, hey, like I've been playing bad. Maybe I need to take this more seriously, and hey, things happen in the NFL. You might, and like Ocho says, NFL stands for not for long. Even though you might be he was a top 5 pick, right?
Yep.
You can easily be replaced. You got replaced by old man for 2 games, and even though old man Joe didn't win those 2 games, the offense looked not even a little, it looked a lot more competent under his, I guess, leadership and just, being able to play the position. So, and then on the flip side, Jets, I mean, at this point, you're fighting for the last playoff spot. I think I seen on the McAfee show today, I think the top 6 seeds in the AFC are pretty much at 90% or higher as locks. So everyone's going to be fighting for this last spot, meaning the Jets, the Bengals, even the Dolphins after their win against the Rams on Monday, and the Broncos, all fighting for this last spot. So the Jets have no room for errors. I think today they went through tackling drills, which is a little weird for an NFL team to going through middle school tackling drills. But hey, defense has been playing pretty bad. But we've seen this Colts offense look pretty bad with Anthony Richardson at the helm. So, I'm gonna go with what I said a couple weeks ago with the last must-win game. Aaron Rodgers, I thought he had enough juice then. I think he has enough juice to keep their playoff hopes alive for one more week. Also being that it's at MetLife. And at this point, I just don't trust Anthony Richardson. He just makes too many boneheaded plays. Even though he has all the talent in the world. So I'm going to go Jets in this one, Lawrence. As much as I want to trust Anthony Richardson, I just can't. I trust Aaron Rodgers, even though he's old and semi-washed. I trust him more than this
Hmm.
Colts.
I mean, that's a fair argument. You bring up fair points there. Fair points. Fair points.
All right, second game of this week. Who do you got?
I think you'll probably piggyback off me after I'm done with this one, but I think the elephant in
Mm-hmm.
the room says Chiefs Bills has to be talked about. It has to be
Yes.
discussed, so I'll bring it up now. Um, in terms of offenses, the Chiefs are middle of the pack, and the Bills are middle of the pack. Total yards, it's 12 versus 15. Um, Passing yards, it's ninth versus 13th. It's 21st versus 15th in the rush. 11th versus third in points. The Bills are third in points. Whatever I say last is the Bills. But the Chiefs are number one in the league on third down on offense. The Bills against on third down, staying off, getting on, staying off. They're 21st. That's a big difference right there. The Chiefs are one of the best teams keeping their drives alive, and the Bills, they're just about average about stopping drives. So it doesn't bode well on that end. And if you look at their defense, I mean, they're 17th, 18th, 15th, and ninth. They're just middle of the pack in defense. And then you take into account Coleman's out, Amari Cooper's questionable, and Kincaid is questionable. I mean, everything just points to a way that Chiefs are just going to win this one again. But then you got to ask yourself, the Bills are still the favorite. And my gut is telling me to go Bills. And my heart is telling me to go Bills. Because at this point in time, the Chiefs are so due. They're just so due to lose. I think this game goes over 45 and a half. And I think the Bills win. Now, what's going to end up happening? This game goes over 45 and a half, and the Chiefs win because the refs make sure it happens.
Fair enough. Fair assessment there. I'll piggyback off you. I think the Bills have had. Don't quote me on this, but I think the Bills have had the better in this matchup. At least last year, I know they won in the regular season. So I believe in the Bills in the regular season. Now, when it counts the most, that's when I start to lose my faith in the Bills. So I'm gonna trust my gut. My gut is saying Bills, even though there's probably no Cooper. Uh, Kincaid's questionable. Josh Allen, he's been playing very well. He's pretty much only had one Josh Allen game, meaning he's only turned the ball over a lot. Pretty much last week, started turning the ball over. Um, and at home, I trust him more than if it was an Arrowhead. Then I'm definitely saying, hey, Chiefs. Even if Mahomes plays crappy, the Zebras are going to be there to save him. So I'm gonna pick it back off you, Lawrence. I'm gonna go Bills. My second game of the week, y'all. I mean, you already know where I'm going. Cincinnati Chargers. Honestly, the only important game in my eyes this week. This is like I said, top 6 seeds in the AFC are pretty much at a 90% lock. Chargers being at that 6th spot, unless the Chargers go on a big skid. They're pretty much locked in at that 6th spot. Big turnaround by Jim Harbaugh, coming in, establishing some culture, some good defense, running the ball, all that good stuff. Bengals on the flip side have only beaten the bad teams, lost to one bad team, the Patriots, and lost by single digits to pretty much all the other good teams beside the Eagles. They lost by 17 to the Eagles. So this will be interesting. Bengals on the road, must win for sure, because you still got 2 games versus the Steelers. And honestly, you can't get swept by the Steelers. You get swept by the Steelers, it's probably game over at that point. And you got to prove that you can beat the good teams. You beat up on the bad teams. You're supposed to do that. The great teams, you raise your level of play. You just make mistakes, or you just can't make a stop on defense. Can you do that against the Chargers? Now the Chargers, like I said, they're grounding and pounding. Jim has made Herbert's job a lot easier. He doesn't have to be Superman every single game. Just take care of the ball, get first downs, put us in the red zone, and go from there. So this will be a good test to the Bengals' run defense. They looked pretty good in the first half last week against King Henry, but the King's going to eat. So how do they kind of have that same success they found in the first half last week and kind of make that last pretty much the whole game? Because the Chargers are just going to run the ball. They're not going to be like the Ravens that get pass happy because they have an MVP quarterback like Lamar. Herbie's a good quarterback, but with the amount of weapons he have this year, Lawrence, he can't really be Dyson like Lamar did. So it'll be interesting to see if Bengals can stop the run. I believe they probably will for like a half, maybe 3/4, and then they'll break down. But I think Joe will put up enough points on the board to get this one home. I think the Chargers, their downfall is going to be not able to score as much points as the Cincinnati. I think this offense is on the roll. T might play this week. Also, Orlando Brown Jr. might play. They both played at practice this week, or they both practiced today, I should say. Even though T didn't go through drills, saw him sprinting a little bit, so that seems a little bit of a good indicator right there. So if we get T back, I'm definitely picking, Bengals plus. I mean, I'm taking the spread regardless, but I would definitely feel better with T. But even without T, I still feel like the Bengals can get it done. Take that money line plus 105, looking pretty juicy right there. The points, I'm not too sure. My gut is telling me over, but then also I don't know if the Chargers can put up enough points. But we'll see. But I got Cincinnati.
Man, that Chargers defense ain't no joke. I'm letting you know that right now. It's a tricky one for you.
All right, third game. Who do you got?
Third game, I'll keep it short and sweet. I'm taking the Broncos straight up. I think the defense wins it for them. I've been kind of riding the Broncos for a while. And the problem is with the Falcons, they're banged up. If you look at their injury report, it's pretty extensive. Kirk Cousins has appeared on the injury report. It says shoulder, but then you read the injury report for him. There's like a bevy of injuries. There's like 3 different ones that he could be under for. Tyler Algier is currently injured and questionable to play. And I think it was Ray McLeod as well, which, some of these aren't that big of a deal. Like Ray and Algier, they're kind of like more of the smaller pieces to the puzzle. But in reality, you need every piece you can. And if there's anything about this Falcons defense we've seen all season, they ranked 21st in total points, 24th in pass, 20th in rush, 20th in points, and it's 28th in the league on third down. If you've watching the Falcons games, you know they let teams score a lot of points. If you're watching the Broncos games, they're pretty good at nullifying people from scoring points. They're 6th in total defense, 10th in pass defense, 7th in rush defense, 4th in points allowed, and 15th in third point and on getting off the field on third down. So even as good as the Falcons offense is sometimes, and the Broncos isn't, I think we've seen week to week that the Broncos consistently just get a little bit more improved offensively, and we have seen no slouch in the Denver's defense. And if you look at their injury report, it's not too shabby. It's got some people on it, but it's nowhere near to the same extent same existence as the Falcons.
Okay, fair enough. I guess for me, we're gonna go last game. We're gonna go Seattle, San Fran. Now, San Fran just got C-Mac back. He didn't score last week, but he looked pretty good in his debut. I think he got like 108, 109 total yards of offense.
Mm-hmm.
So not too shabby. Most people want him to, go off for 2 tubs and have that type of performance, but I ain't mad at it. Now Seattle, done a little bit of a slump. Lost 2 straight. Lost to the Rams in overtime. Lost to Buffalo. Kind of got beat the hell up by Buffalo. Not a good look there. Uh, Now this is a division game, and this is very important. It's half a game between both teams. If San Fran ends up losing, they both gonna have the same record. With basically, with the Rams loss and the Cardinals winning, I think Cardinals are probably like 2 games up in the division. So both teams need to make up ground in this NFC West. Very, very difficult. Very, very tough. Now San Fran is 6.5 favorites. I don't feel too strongly about that. They struggled last week against Tampa Bay. And Tampa Bay didn't have Mike Evans or Chris Godwin. Baker was just putting the team on his back. Granted, Moody missed 3 field goals, so the game, like I said last episode, probably shouldn't have been that close. We'll see if Moody gets his stuff together this game. I'm gonna go San Fran, but I'm feeling pretty good about Seattle to cover 6.5 for Seattle. I feel like it's doable. Gino, he's been hit or miss. When he's been hitting, he's been hitting. When he's been missing, he's been missing. I think this will be a game where he's hitting, but he doesn't have enough to outpower this San Fran offense. I think another week of C-Mac back, finding his groove, getting better conditioned and better oriented into the offense. I feel like he'll put up a good performance this week. At least that's what I'm hoping for in my fantasy. But yeah, I think Gino will have enough magic to keep this close, at least by a touchdown. I think he can do that.
I'm glad you got the confidence in Gino, because you're probably one of the few.
Hey, love me some Gino. When he's hitting, he's hitting. Yeah, that's week 11. And then of course we got the Monday night game, Houston versus them boys. But Dak, I think, might be out for the season. He had surgery today, I think, at some point. So he might be gone. So and nothing to cover there. So I think we can move on to some UFC. Lawrence, UFC 309, win MSG main event. John Jones versus Miocic. Hope I'm saying his name right. What do you got for us?
Well, there's a lot of things you can go with on this card. The parlay I put together, and there's some other things you could be looking into. I just haven't. The rundown that I like is taking Oliveira, a TKO or submission, which is minus 220. I like Bo Nickel to win by TKO in round 1 or 2, plus 100.
Okay.
I like Ramihaj, money line just straight up to win, plus 106. And then I could cut it right there, and I think that would be a good amount of money. I think that has a lot of value. But one more that I think is just too juicy not to add is a Jim Miller plus 136. It might throw it off a little bit. If you're not confident in it, don't take it. But I just feel like Jim Miller, he's only got a few more fights left in him, and so fighting someone else who's about almost 37 years old when he's in the age of 41, it kind of sits well for him. And it's not like the man he's fighting is some sort of up and comer or established or anything. It's just kind of one of those journeymen who's just still kind of there in the fight.
Okay, fair enough. And how do you feel about the main events for this fight?
Main event's pretty trash. John Jones is just dodging Aspinall. Wish he would fight Aspinall, but I guess he doesn't want to lose. Miocic hasn't fought in like 2 years. It's okay because John Jones hasn't fought in like 2 years. The main event to me is Oliveira versus Chandler. I'm more excited for that fight.
Fair enough. I'm looking forward to this fight, seeing John Jones potentially win. He says he wants to go out after Alex after this, but we'll see. That probably won't happen. But It'll be
I,
interesting to see what happens after this fight
I think
for his career.
I think purely he has to fight Aspinall. I think he has to stop ducking him.
He says he's been talking some trash about him, saying he's just another up and comer. He hasn't been established or something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but he was definitely ducking and dodging.
Yeah, I mean
Trying to set up.
the problem with Aspinall is he's the interim when John Jones is gone with his injuries and whatnot. But like John Jones won't fight him, so he can't build more of a resume. Because no offense to the division, it's not the strongest division by all means in the UFC. So I mean, you're forcing him to fight Curtis Blades, and I mean that's like his peak of a fight that he can have because that's the only people who are gonna give him a chance.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Go ahead.
Oh no, sorry, I was done.
Yeah. So okay. So this will be Saturday. Main card starts at 10. Of course, it's on ESPN Plus. Go.
Hey, did you know that Mike Tyson's is the underdog?
Yeah, Mike Tyson, Jake Paul fight what Friday night on Netflix?
Friday night on Netflix.
Yep, that should be interesting. I'm definitely gonna watch it. Do you have any who you going with? Old man Mike, or you going with Jake Paul?
I think you have to
Jake
take
Paul can
Mike
box.
Tyson. I think you just have to take
Yeah,
Mike Tyson because I think they established it as a pro fight, so it's gonna go against Mike Tyson's record. Nah. It's an extensive record for Mike not to want to keep.
Interesting. I knew it was an exhibition, but I didn't know if it was actually going to count to his record. But that's interesting.
I heard from a story that it's going to count towards his record.
All right. Well, we'll see if the old man's conditioned to fight. What is it? It's going like what 9 or 11 rounds, right?
I think it's 10.
Okay. So in a sweet spot. Jake can box, but I don't know if Jake has enough knockout power to. I mean, Mike probably definitely has a chin by now, but I mean, Mike ain't never lost his knockout power, bro. Like I would be scared to get hit by that man. So we'll see if he can catch Jake one good time. I guess we can squeeze in a little NBA. Last night, first in-season tournament games went down. I think the Celtics lost to the Hawks without Trae Young, surprisingly. I think Jalen Johnson had like a trip dub. I didn't watch the game, but the highlights, I was like, wow, how did the Celtics lose to the Hawks without Trae Young? And they were at home. That was a little weird. But hey, it's in-season tournament. They didn't, do too good last year in the in-season tournament, but any thoughts, Lawrence? Dyson Daniels had 28. Yeah, he played pretty well.
I'm still trying to feel out the in-season tournament right now because I can't, just based on the first matchups, I can't quite tell who cares and doesn't care yet. And to be quite honest with you, I thought a team like the Hornets would try to do a whole lot of something, and they did a whole lot of nothing against the Magic.
Yeah, they had been playing well, but they were my sleeper to, advance to the tournament. But you can't advance with this. I mean, if LaMelo's your best player by leaps and bounds, you ain't gonna make any noise in the in-season tournament. Brandon Miller did not play well. 3 of 18. That is not a good stat line. Not a good stat line. Miami lost to Detroit after going to overtime. Got the Hero jersey on. Even though they lost, Hero hit like 10 threes. Hit like 2 back-to-back to force OT. Coach Bo, a little boneheaded play, called a timeout in overtime, and they didn't have a timeout, which gave Detroit a technical foul. They shot the free throw. So they went up by 1. Then Miami has to foul on the inbound because it's Detroit ball. and then end up losing. So that was on Coach Spo, but Tyler Hero had a good game. We'll talk about this more probably next week or the week after, but we're only like an eighth of the way through the season. I think we're only like, teams are starting to play their 10th, 11th, 12th games. What I'm seeing from Miami Lawrence is not good. This team's just not constructed well. You can see in the starting unit. I mean, this is not a good starting unit. Even with Jimmy out, you should still beat the Pistons. And the Pistons are better this year, but you can't really lose them to the Pistons, man. And it's not. The loss is on Spo, but roster construction wise, like he doesn't have a lot to go with, and we got to start talking about old man Pat. He is not making the best decisions. But I'll rant on that probably next week. I need to do some more assessing. Joel and PG lost to the Knicks last night. Knicks all around were good, but Joel and PG aren't playing tonight. Embiid didn't particularly look well. He didn't play particularly well last night either, Lawrence. And afterwards, he said he felt good. So for whatever reason, they're both not playing tonight. It's kind of stupid. NBA got to do something about this, man. They can't be purposely missing all these damn games. Like I'm sick and tired of it. And your team is 2-8, about to be 2-9 probably. Like, have some pride, bro. Like, if you get too deep of a hole, Lawrence, they're not gonna be able to dig themselves out of it. Even if the East is this bad, I think there's only like 2 or 3 teams in the East with a winning record right now.
Yeah, but
how you feel?
They're getting a lot of money,
and that's the problem. I think that's part of the problem. We can look at the East right now.
Yeah, give me your rundown of the East.
Bad start for a lot of teams not named Celtics or Cavs. You look at it, the Knicks started off a little slow. Pacers, started off slow as well. Nets surprisingly are good, but that might be due to people wanting to get off the Nets. So they might be overachieving a little bit, trying to get traded. Pistons are a surprise. Other than that, I'm not. How do you feel about the Cavs? They're 12-0. This is a team that we thought should get broken up at some point. Between Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, they bring the core back. They change coaches, bring in Kenny Atkinson, and between changing up the rotations, changing up some of the offense, he's done a fabulous job, Lawrence. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. 12-0 is huge. I don't even think did LeBron go 12-0 at any point in Cleveland? It's hard to say. So this is, very, very impressive. How do you feel about the Cavs? I know you haven't watched too much NBA, but 12-0 is impressive, right?
Going undefeated at any point, especially for a long period of time like they have, is always impressive. And then winning and then doing it convincingly, more often than not, is also a big factor in assessing how good they are. There's been a lot of games where they've made big comebacks, they've made big blowouts, they've done it in all sorts of fashions. It just seems like a team that's very together and united. And it honestly makes it very interesting to judge what they're about to approach towards midseason. If they have a rut, do they try to trade some, get some? What has to go to add? There's just a lot of things at this team because I feel like yes, it's a good team, but I think fundamentally they just need another. They're just missing one tiny thing, but it hasn't come to fruition yet.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, and they're still missing Max Strus. I think he's still not playing yet, so that's another piece off the bench that you don't have. Yeah, I think maybe Max comes back and that's the missing piece. Who knows? But they definitely have some renewed energy, to say the least. And we can do a quick look at the West. Break down the West. Phoenix, I think you were more high on Phoenix than I was, but they're sitting tied with OKC at first. Thunder looked pretty well. Warriors. Now this is one that I'm surprised about. Lawrence. I don't know if you got the game last night. Warriors. They're playing pretty well. I think they've been playing like 12 guys
11.
like every night.
They played 11 against Dallas.
And we're not talking about 11 guys getting like 5, 6, 7 minutes. No, we're talking about 11, 12 guys getting like at least double-digit minutes every night. I think Curry's been averaging like, 25, 26 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
And they're doing all this without Clay.
And they're looking really fresh. So the biggest thing for the Warriors is when it comes to clutch time situations at the very end of the game, they're just fresher. Yeah. They're just a fresher team the way they play.
Yeah, I mean you can even look at the example last night. Like no one looked tired. Everyone, touched the ball at some point during the game for more than just a couple minutes. So you're already kind of in rhythm. So if Kerr needs you to go out there to play defense, or Kerr needs you to go out there to hit a shot, like you're ready to go. Like no one's rusty. I wish more coaches would do this early in the season. I know a lot of coaches try to get key bench players some minutes in the regular season, but to see it like this on this team, I mean, they're deep. Who knows if they try to keep this together and say, hey, we're just going to keep our depth and hopefully that'll get us through the playoffs? Or do they flip some of these guys and say, like, hey, we built up your trade value. We need to go out and make a big splash. What do you think, Lawrence? Do they keep the depth or do they go out and make a splash in the trade market?
I say they make a splash. Because when you get towards playoff times, you're not going to have this depth that's not going to help you.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. I can't see them playing 10 guys in the playoffs. That's just not gonna happen. You're gonna play your best guys the most minutes. It's good to get them experience right now, but it's not a long-term solution. So if they can make a splash, preferably a big guy, because last night they were just getting dominated between Gafford, Lively. Even Luka was grabbing a lot of rebounds. So look for them to kind of scour the market for a big man that can probably shoot some threes. They try to get Laurie, didn't work out, so maybe they go for maybe a Valanciunas from Washington. Maybe they go after I would say Jakopoto, but he can't really shoot threes. So any big guy that can shoot threes, you should be on the lookout for potential Golden State acquisition at some point. Anything else we got to cover, Lawrence?
Nothing on my mind.
Cool.
I haven't been watching too much. I've been watching a little college basketball, but it's just a little early for college basketball to get into nit and gritty details of it. You just don't know who anyone is quite yet. I mean, I was kind of high on Mason, and then watching them struggle today. It's just, these are filler games to make you fill out the team. You just need a few more of them.
Fair enough. I feel you on that one. I think that's all I got as well. So, we'll end it at that. Thank you guys for watching MTL Sports episode 129. Hopefully you guys like the content. Keep on liking it. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening on Spotify, all that good stuff. And we're going to head on out. Peace.
Peace.